So for me, cleansing the body is about allowing the body to actually heal. So I really believe our body works for us all the time. Even if you're diagnosed with something really severe, your body never gives up fighting for you. The body really wants to be able to support you and it wants to be able to heal from the inside out.
This month in Universal Healing, we are bringing a subject that I'm so passionate about, and that is cleansing, letting go, letting go of the things that no longer serve you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and creating space in our bodies, our lives, our minds for new things to manifest, new growth, new creation. With Universal Healing, we work with energy, the inner human energy field, because that's what all our healers are trained in. But this is really a platform for all different types of healing to bring how we create health. And there's so many different ways. And this month, we're working with very specific systems in the body that are the systems that cleanse the body. And when you look at them, it's so incredible to see how many systems there are that are just about cleaning out our body and creating a healthy, clean frame for our body to heal itself. We started with the lymphatic system, which set up this month of cleansing. We now are going to work with the skin, our biggest organ in our body that cleanses our system. Then we are going to work with one of the most obvious ones, which is the digestive system. We'll then work with the breath, the respiratory system, which is the lungs are all about cleaning out the carbon dioxide in the body, bringing in the fresh, getting rid of the old. And then we'll work with the excretory system, which is also very, very much about cleaning the body. And every 3 months we do this again. So these systems rotate and we do the cleansing again and again. And then we're also going to work with systems that support other elements of our being. The courage to create your own life and your own health is so important in this journey. That we then also work with is clearing the spine, cleaning out the spinal column, the vertical power current so that your energy can flow in a healthy way. And also all this cleansing and clearing out, what do we create? We create the space for creativity, for aliveness, to create the things that we really want. And we also work with the DNA healing, cleaning the DNA, all those things that we believe that are genetic or predispositions. We can also clean those out of the field. And with our grounding healing, we ground ourselves in this lifetime, in this body, in this planet. It's the fundamental of all the healing work that we do. And I'm so thrilled to be chatting to Michelle Mace, who is really such an expert in this field.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Mace. I'm a healer and I've been working for 25 years, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually with patients. I predominantly practice as a body talk practitioner, and then I also really specialize in food medicine. So I'm a gut health coach, and the reason I've chosen to do that in my practice is because it is absolutely miraculous to see how the body can actually heal. So when I work physically with the patient, I work with 40 different symptoms, and it's incredibly powerful when we actually use food as medicine. And maybe you could just talk a little bit about how, when you physically cleanse the body, what that does to support your body. Well, I find that with the deeper work that we all do on ourselves, we can meditate and we can focus in on mindfulness and we can focus in on what it is that we need to really address spiritually in our lives. So, really actually looking at what we are letting go of and what we're stepping into. But for me, the foundation of all of that is always the physical body. If you don't have enough vitamin Bs in your system, your nervous system's not going to function well. You can be as focused in on meditation or mindfulness, but physically, if the body can't actually support all of that deep work, you really, really need to focus in on allowing the physical body to support whatever your path and your journey is spiritually. Well, that's what I've been experiencing with patients. And the same also holds true when you're working with the physical body, when people start addressing their health and really looking at giving the body that high prana food, the food that really can nourish you on such a deep level, it very, very often the mind becomes clearer and your spiritual path, that path becomes supported by the physical. So they go hand in hand for me.
cleansing the body, for me, it's about supporting the systems that need to be in place so that you can actually give the body all the nutrients that it actually needs to be able to heal from the inside out. So for me, cleansing is, it's so much about, it's not just about what one's cutting out, it's what you're adding in. It's the nutrients that you actually need to give the different systems in your body so that that system can actually support your healing path and journey.
So as part of my 30-day reset, we actually work with a list of foods that have been scientifically documented to cause angiogenesis and apoptosis in the body. So it's equipping the immune system with absolutely everything that it needs to allow the body to heal from the inside out. I'm going to share a couple of the foods with you now so that you can take away from this talk and actually make sure that you're including that into your diet. The most important one is your leafy greens. I know that everybody says that spinach and kale is so important for your system, but it really, really is. The polyphenols that occur in leafy greens and your brassica family is just unparalleled. If you can include anything in your body on a daily basis, I would say spinach and broccoli are top of my list. The other vegetables that are extremely important are the vegetables that are orange in color. So butternut, squash, carrots. They're very, very high in vitamin A and the polyphenol that actually supports the body in terms of all the lining and the membranes in the body really need the vegetables that are orange. So you actually want to get a good variation of color in your diet. And I love fruit, so please, if you have any fear of eating fruit, it is not bad sugar for your body. It's the kind of sugar that your immune system actually needs. Your liver actually needs that glucose to be able to cleanse and actually heal. So the most powerful cancer fighting fruit is actually berries, and it doesn't matter if they're frozen. Scientifically, they've proven that it can be fresh, or if they're frozen, they are as medicinal. So all of your berries, cherries, blueberries, raspberries, just include it in your diet as much as you possibly can. Right next to berries, so really, really as medicinal, and this is just so, I love this research that they've been doing. It's actually all the fruit that have a stone inside. So a peach, a plum, an apricot, a mango, anything that basically has a pip. It is as powerful as your berries. So in terms of disease prevention, you want to be including that in your diet. Polyphenols inside ginger and turmeric reduce inflammation, so you should be having that absolutely every day. One of my favorite things to do is just to take an apple with a thumb-sized piece of ginger, run it through a juicer, and take that as an immune boosting shot every single day. The polyphenol that's inside turmeric is something called curcumin, and when you have that, just have it with a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of coconut oil. So if you're making a delicious, like a vegetable curry, for example, you want to be including turmeric in fresh or powdered, but making sure that there's just a tiny bit of black pepper with that, as well as coconut oil. So cleansing the body if you have cancer is extremely important. The largest cancer research lab at the moment is in Canada, and they're researching the effect that food actually has on cancer cells. The science that is backing food as a source of healing is absolutely incredible. They have scientifically proven that there are very powerful food medicine particles called polyphenols, and these polyphenols are so powerful they can actually cause a cancer cell to commit suicide. There's two specific things that happen in the body if it's actually equipped with the right polyphenols. If your immune system comes in contact with a cancer cell, it can actually cut off blood supply to that cancer cell, and it can actually cause the cancer cell to commit suicide. So really, apoptosis and angiogenesis are the two scientific terms. And it's powerful. It's powerful because if you're taking those polyphenols into your body, it is the most incredible thing that you can do in terms of disease prevention.
Does that make sense?
No, that's very amazing. And I mean, I'd love to also just understand a little bit specifically, like let's use some systems for an example. And this month in Universal Healing, we're working with systems that cleanse the body, very much so. So we work on the different systems like every week, and also on a Sunday night. And so we've got this month, we've got like the lymphatic system, we've got the endocrine system, the nervous system, and the digestive system, which are all three and the skin, which is also very much a cleansing system. So maybe you could just talk a little bit about how cleansing can support these systems, or how these systems work with us.
I work with food medicine. For me, there is science that's now backing all of these incredible, powerful, we call them polyphenols, which is basically the food medicine particles that you find in fruits and vegetables. And polyphenols are something that allows your body to receive certain building blocks that it actually needs in order to heal. So these polyphenols work to support different systems. So if you want to cleanse the blood, for example, it's so important to actually include foods that are red. Beetroot, as an example, has powerful polyphenols in to support the heart, to support your blood, the circulation in the system. Powerful polyphenols that support your joints are things like turmeric and ginger. So the polyphenol in turmeric is actually called curcumin. And that is, for me, just such an incredible thing. When you're actually looking at food, you're looking at these, they're such small particles, but when you're putting them in your system, it is exactly what your body needs to switch on healing. So these powerful polyphenols are found in things that we have in our kitchen. We just need to actually get enough of them into our body so that the body can heal from the inside out. So in order to supply the different systems in the body with what it needs, you need to be getting quite a variation in your diet. For me, the most important for your nervous system is the greens, the leafy greens. So the polyphenols in the leafy greens are so packed with food medicine, in terms of that they're packed with chlorophyll. They really, really, really support you if you're feeling like your nervous system is being stretched too thin. You need to up the amount of greens that you're actually having. So many people say to me, like, how much is enough? Like, how do I know if what I'm having is actually enough? And I always say that the fastest way to get it into the body is to often to drink it. So that's why I'm such an advocate of juicing and making dairy-free smoothies, is because very often you can take quantities into the body that you might not be able to do if you were just sitting there and actually eating it. So it's about really getting it into the body and actually seeing each meal that you're having as this opportunity to actually get these powerful polyphenols into the body, to be able to provide the cells with what it needs to heal. And when you're looking at a system in your body, like your blood, for example, so your circulatory system or your lymphatic system, or if you're looking at your digestive system, these polyphenols can feed different parts of the body that all work in unison. At the end of the day, they all work together, and your body is trying to heal you all the time. Your body is arriving for you. So a lot of times people say that they, have been diagnosed with something, and very often there's an emotional component that goes with it, where they feel like they've done something wrong, or, what have they been neglecting in their life? And I really, really just spend so much time with our patients, like just trying to reassure them that you haven't actually done something wrong. And even though you're diagnosed with something, your body is still working for you. Your body is still fighting for you. What you need to do is get on board to actually provide the body with the nutrients that it actually needs to heal from the inside out. And that's why cleansing is so important.
Yeah, I mean, that's also so incredible to hear, because it goes against this old idea that I guess I have, and maybe we all have, that you have to sacrifice to cleanse, that you have to like find a time where you only do juices, or you only eat, salads or something like that, which for people, and many people, especially in their lives, makes it quite hard. But what I'm hearing you saying is that you actually need to bring this into your day-to-day life. And it's not about finding a moment to do a huge cleanse, which obviously can be amazing sometimes, but to make it more a lifestyle than anything else, and how that can really transform your health.
Well, that's so important, because the major diseases that people are diagnosed with, so autoimmune diseases or cancer, when you're really looking at that absolute common thread that they all have, is inflammation. And 80% of all the inflammation in the body can be rectified by what you're eating. So if you're eating the right things, you can have 80% less inflammation happening in the cells in the body. And inflammation, it just means that your body is, at some point in time, there's something that's triggering inflammation, which means that the cells in the body, the tissue in the body, will be red, sore, and inflamed. So as soon as there's inflammation, your body is experiencing red, sore tissue in the body, and the body doesn't want to actually be in that state. The body wants to rectify it. So this is an incredible chemical process that happens to actually address how to heal the body, but it can't do that without the nutrients. You have to be able to put the nutrients into the body. You have to be able to put that food medicine particles, those polyphenols in fruits and vegetables, into the body. And for me, it's quite important that, I know we speak about cleansing and we speak about fasting and the difference between them. Like, because I work with food medicine, for me, my focus is so much about what we're adding into the body, because I see people do that all the time. They take what they consider, food that is not beneficial out their diet, and they cut things out, but they don't necessarily put enough of the nutrients back in. So it's what you're replacing that with. And for me, when I see like miraculous things in people, where I see turnarounds where autoimmune diseases become, dormant, and you can't switch that gene off, but you can certainly get to a point where the body will be able to be symptom free. And when I see reverses, so if I see tumor sizes that just, tumor that don't grow, it's really, really because the body's receiving the nutrients that it actually needs.
Yeah, that's amazing. Also, this concept of the genes, that our genes have something, and how do we prevent it? And I feel that cleansing and this kind of nourishing the body, and of course the work that we do in the energy field, to have like a lifestyle of supporting the healing in the body, which is, nutrition, air, exercise, healthy energy field. These things are fundamental, as opposed to going to a doctor and getting a pill or some radical treatments. And maybe you could also just talk a little bit about how you do work with people that have the extreme diagnosis, something that looks as really like a cancer or a severe illness.
So I think when I see a patient for the first time, I really spend at least an hour and a half with them. And what I really look at is the history of what they've been experiencing. So, whatever's happening in your health today is not what you were doing this morning or what you were doing yesterday. You really need to go back. You need to look back at 3 months ago, 6 months ago. And that's why I think it's so important that what you're actually putting into the body, when you're cleansing your body, you're giving the body the opportunity to heal. But what you're really, really doing is you're looking at preventative medicine ahead. What has been diagnosed? What you need to do is look at what was happening 6 months ago, what was happening 9 months ago, 12 months ago. I go right back to what people were experiencing when they were teenagers, when they were children. To address pathogen loads in the body, it's so powerful when you do that, because what you're doing is you're freeing your immune system up so that it can actually address whatever you've been diagnosed with. So whether that's a cancer diagnosis, or if you've had an autoimmune disease where there's a gene in the body that has been switched on because of something, because there's always a trigger. You can have a genetic predisposition to an autoimmune disease that your grandfather or grandmother or parents or your siblings might have, but that doesn't mean that it'll switch on in your system. So it's all about your environment. They said that's why I love working with preventative medicine, because it's possible to keep those genes dormant. But once that gene does switch on, unfortunately, it's very difficult. You can't switch it off, but you can definitely bring those symptoms that you have into remission.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that what we're really talking about in so much of the work that we do is preventative medicine.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something, because when someone is ill, it's much harder to work with it. But if we can work like long term, and I suppose for me personally, cleansing is a huge aspect of that, is just keeping the body clean and allowing health to find, your body to find its health. And how can we do that in our lives more? I know you've said about taking in stuff, but should we give ourselves periods or times where we can actually really do a cleansing?
So I think that first of all is to see it in bite-sized pieces. Every meal that you actually have can be a cleansing meal. So if the focus is on really looking at how many times you're actually eating in a day, if you really focus in on making sure that the food that you're taking in are high in polyphenols, so high amounts of fruits, vegetables, salads, so plants really, what you're doing is you're already providing the body with everything that it actually needs to cleanse. And because it's cleansing, it's going to heal. So I think doing that on a daily basis, if you get that right 80% of the time in your week, you are doing such an incredible thing for your health. It's really the best thing that you can possibly do. I do think that you need to break it into cyclical phases, where at the change of each season, to do something more structured for a minimum of 24 hours, 3 days, 7 days, 10 days at the start of each season. If you can actually build that into your lifestyle where you do a very specific fast around the change of the season, I think that that benefits your system so much, you know. And then what one does in between those, when you're actually looking at between the fast that you would do at the start of that season, when you're really just looking at supporting your body to cleanse in between fasts, it's so powerful because you're giving your immune system absolutely everything that it needs to be able to actually support your health and to keep you healthy.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, something that's very popular today, and it's the big buzzword, is intermittent fasting. And is that, what do you think of that?
I really, really support it a lot. So our cancer patients that we work with, autoimmune diseases, if people are diagnosed with Lyme disease, we use intermittent fasting 100%. So as a bare minimum, if somebody is not eating for 12 hours, if you're not eating and using your digestive system to actually digest food, your body will naturally go into a detox. In other words, it's just actually going into a space where your body doesn't use all its energy to digest food, but it directs that energy towards the immune system. And then the immune system will literally go and it will look for any pathogen load in the body. So once it actually comes in contact with the pathogen, your immune system is so powerful, it will actually engulf that pathogen, break it down, put it into the lymph system, and your body will just release it and just remove it from your system. So when you're not eating, after 12 hours of not eating, you're naturally in a detox. So as soon as you're adding an extra 4 hours to that, the body will actually use those 4 hours. It's something called autophagy, and your body will just go into really, really targeting pathogens. Parasites are very important to address in the body. I don't work with any patient without addressing their parasite load. I also don't test for that at all because it's just something that I see that when you're actually working with it, people's feedback is that they just feel such a difference when they've done a parasite cleanse. After parasites, you're really looking at things like candida, fungal growths in the body. You can look at like nail fungus and that. So addressing candida and mold in the body is incredibly important. That frees up the immune system, and then targeting viral or bacterial pathogen load in the body. And that's so important because your viral exposure to, for example, like Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus, those take up so much work where your immune system is just focusing in on really trying to constantly keep those viruses dormant, because it's constantly like a balance that your body has to try and maintain. And when you're looking at addressing viruses and bacterial, I always try and do that last with patients. It's very important to do, but you must start with those entry-level pathogens, which is your parasites, and then mold and fungus.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. And are there other, I mean, we're talking so much specifically about food because that's your specialty, but are there other protocols that we can do, like sweating, and what else supports the body to cleanse?
Yes, absolutely. When you're looking at, for me, one of the most important ones that I really, really love using is dry skin brushing, because your skin is your largest elimination organ. So when you do that, you stimulate your lymph, and actually stimulating the lymph, it's actually a very delicate system. Your lymph runs, it's like a sewage system throughout your whole body, and the lymph vessels actually have fluid inside. And, like you would have veins or arteries in the body, and you have your heart that is pumping the blood through your veins or your arteries, your lymph vessels have lymphatic fluid inside, but there's no organ pumping it. So the only way you can move lymph in your system, which is quintessentially your immune system, is by actually moving your muscles. And it's so important when you think about exercise. I would just say to patients all the time, one of my first questions is are you moving your body? And if so, how much? Because if you're moving your body, you're moving your lymph. And if you're moving the lymph, then that is really supporting your immune system in such a huge way. So dry skin brushing for me is really, really profound because it's very subtle. It's not something that you have to do very hard, but you're stimulating your lymph, because basically with all those upward motions, so you would start with your, lower extremities like your legs, and really just brushing up towards the heart. And in that way, you're actually moving the lymph, because it's beneath the skin, it's quite a surface level Yeah, so you can do a lot for your immune system just by keeping the lymph moving.
And also, when you're talking about this, I can feel that we have so many systems in our body that are actually all about cleansing the body. You know, the skin, the lymphatic system, the lungs, the obviously digestive system, the excretory systems, all these systems that are actually there profoundly to clean the body. So
Absolutely.
it makes it so clear that this is a priority in our physical body to keep this body clean. And I feel that we don't pay so much attention to that. We think it just happens naturally without supporting it some of the time.
Well, clean eating is the most important thing you can do for your health, because if you're keeping your diet clean, it means that your body is going to be clean. And there's something that I think people need to understand, that if you have an injury, your body will try and support you by rushing water there or mucus. So if your tissue becomes red, sore, and inflamed, so for example, if you twist an ankle, your body will rush water there, and within 5 minutes, your whole ankle will be swollen, right? So your body will actually try and protect you. Or if you have a sinus infection and that tissue in the sinus cavity becomes red, sore, and inflamed, your body will rush mucus there. So for your digestive system, it's exactly the same. Your body will protect your digestive system. If you're eating food that is causing your digestive lining to become red, sore, and inflamed, your body will rush mucus there. In a way, it will try and protect you. But what happens is that mucus actually builds up. And it builds up on the lining of your colon, and it really becomes compacted. It actually prevents your body from cleaning out properly. So one of the main reasons you actually need to do a cleanse from a food perspective, by what you're adding in is good food, and I call it weeding. So it's like you see your system as a garden, and you're just really going in and you're actually just pulling out the weeds. So you're taking out in your diet what's not really working for you. Especially if you're on medication like antibiotics or any kind of anti-inflammatories, and that just coming away from all of that, because it just wreaks havoc in the gut lining, and then weeding everything out that you know is not good for your system and not building your system, and instead of focusing on that, replacing it with things that actually build your body. So those polyphenols in the fruits and the vegetables really provide the cells with what it actually needs to be able to have that food medicine to heal from the inside out. So by adding that back into your diet in a very conscious way with every single meal, really looking at it as an opportunity to get food medicine into your system, it's the most incredible thing that you can do for your health. I feel that when I work with a patient, if they're very sensitive, they tend to go into such a cleanse reaction, if I can put it that way, that often their symptoms, it's almost like their symptoms get worse before it gets better. And I always try and stick with them to motivate them to understand that when your system is numb, that's when it's a problem. If your body actually is experiencing pain or some discomfort, I know it doesn't feel good and I know that it's uncomfortable, but it's actually really important to understand what that mechanism is. Your body actually uses inflammation, and it's fascinating from a science point of view, because when there's inflammation in the body, so when your tissue is red, sore, and inflamed, that chemical process actually allows your blood vessels to become permeable. And what that means is that your immune system is actually in your blood. So all your immune cells need to be able to get to the tissue that's compromised in order to heal it. But the only way that it can get there is through the blood vessels. And the only way it can get out the blood vessels into the tissue is if your body has, in a way, created that groundwork, and your blood vessels need to become porous, so to speak, in that it's your immune system can actually get through the blood vessels into the tissue, and that's what inflammation actually allows. So when you have pain, I know that it's uncomfortable, but it's actually your body's way of trying to actually protect you, first of all, from not using the body parts. So if your body has pain, it's a way of trying to get your attention so that you don't actually stress yourself more. But the second and deeper and most profound thing that's happening is that your body is trying to get and deliver your immune system to tissue that's actually compromised, that needs to heal. So it's quite profound, really. I always say to people when they cleanse and they're sensitive, to just really trust that the body is working for you, that your body is trying to heal, that your body is really arriving to support you. You just need to give it the food medicine. So I very practically, when I work with somebody that comes to me that has a very, very high pain level, and I'm talking about where it's such a high pain level that people can't sleep peacefully or something, we immediately just take out all the concentrated food. So anything that's processed, we take meat out of the system, we take all animal products out of the system, and we just come to the plant kingdom. We really just work with intermittent fasting. So for a period of 16 hours, just really giving the body hydration. So lots of water and herbal teas, and then for 8 hours in the day really focusing in on putting polyphenols into the body, so breaking your fast with juices, smoothies, fruit salads, really understanding that in order to actually heal you need to provide the body with the nutrients. So if you have a fruit salad, for example, like a mono meal of fruit as well, is a great way of getting the polyphenols into the body. If in an hour's time you're hungry again, then you need to get some more of that into the body, because if you take that into the system an hour later, your body will just use it as medicine. And if you're looking at that 8 hours and you at bare minimum eating 4 times, if you can with conscious effort make those 4 meals plant rich meals, so filled with fruit, vegetables, salads, you're getting the polyphenols into the body, and that provides the cells what it actually needs to heal.
And also, I would just say that maybe not also take too much sugar into the body.
Absolutely. There's certain things that actually really inflame the digestive system. And as soon as you're looking at inflammation in the digestive system and that mucus building up, the body can't actually absorb nutrients. And one of the most inflammatory things that you can take into the body is, without a doubt, sugar, gluten, and dairy products. Those are my top 3 if I work with people. They also happen to be exactly what bugs eat. So the bugs, they need nutrients. They're very intelligent. They compete with you for nutrients. So if you're looking at your system and doing a parasite cleanse, like, you can't take all the remedies that you need to take to address the pathogens and to address parasites, for example, if you're actually eating the food that they consider superfood. That's how they multiply. So you really need to do both of them at the same time. You need to take away all the food that actually feeds pathogens in the body. Parallel to that, I get onto a good, like, herbal protocol, a good gut microbiome supplement. So important. It's like a huge part of what I do. So many people come to me and then they say, like, oh, what vitamins should I be taking? And I'm like, if your gut microbiome is not working, so if you don't have enough prebiotics, probiotics, and that gut lining is not actually healed, you actually wasting money on multivitamins. You have to get the gut microbiome functioning. 80% of your immune system is in your gut microbiome. So when we actually do that and go through a protocol for at least 30 days, depending on how severe the damage is on the colon, so anything from 4 weeks to 12 weeks, and then people actually start using multivitamins, or I find that you need such a little bit. You don't even need to spend a lot of money on that, because your absorption will be so, it will be just like your body will be able to just absorb the nutrients that you actually need from what you're eating.
It's incredible that this is out there. This is an alternative way of healing your body. How can people find you if they're interested in the work that you do?
So just my website is juiceworks.co.za. Otherwise Instagram, so that's Juiceworks Cape Town. And just they can DM me, get hold of me through that. Yeah. Hi everyone, so nice to meet you all. My name is Michelle Mace. I'm a gut health coach. I work with patients who have quite severe conditions, so from autoimmune diseases to cancer, and I really specialize in inflammation in the body.
What we've seen in our now 3 years of doing universal healings is people that do the long-term healings of the human energy field, have found incredible health. There are people, families that by a year healing, months and months on end. And for myself personally, I've been part of every single healing since we started 3 years ago. And the transformation in my life has been, I can only say, magic. It's something, the energy field is an unseen force that we live in, an unseen field. And it really feels like some magic has occurred in my life that has brought me to such incredible health, joy, and a lifestyle that I love living.